This is a show for grown-ups.
And they say bad words.
And they say bad words.
Say final warning.
Final warning.
Hello and welcome to the Pot of Blunders. My name is Nate Magnuski, and with me today is Jenna Magnuski.
Yo.
Corey Medeiros.
Hello.
And the sexiest co-host anybody could ever want, Richard Sullivan.
What's happening, babies?
So I had a thought, Richard, and it hurt because it's not familiar to me, but I had a thought that our episode about creating a dungeon using the 5-room dungeon method was such a hit, international hit.
Oh, I was there for that one.
Yeah.
That was a good one on my part.
I thought you did all right. A little slow on the uptake, but you figured it out at the end, and I appreciate that. But anyway, I thought we could take another shot at creating an adventure with a slightly different method.
What method is this?
So I've heard tell on the interwebs of people using a booster pack of Magic the Gathering cards to create a D&D adventure. Now, I'm sure you're all very familiar with the happenings of Magic the Gathering, but the newest set is a D&D set of Magic the Gathering. So is it cheating to do this? Probably. But I thought we would take a look at one of these blind booster packs of Magic the Gathering D&D cards and try to figure it out, see what we can make out of this. What do you think? Sound fun to you? Because it's too late. I already bought them. It's going to happen.
Let's do it.
All right, so this is going to be a visual medium for an audio podcast.
Perfect.
But I'll scan pictures of all these cards on the interwebs. Okay. The first card that came out. Ready? It's the Atropol, which of course you all know what the Atropol is, right?
Yeah, but
Of course.
to put people at home.
Yeah. So the Atropol is like when the gods were created, not all gods made it to adulthood. Some of them were stillborn. And the Atropol is a stillborn god that kind of just floats through the cosmos, fucking shit up and being undead.
So like the Star Child from 2001?
Exactly like that, but way eviler.
Lubberkin in the Witcher universe.
So that's pretty sweet. As I'm reading the Atropol, that's a fun way to begin. And I'm thinking now that we should go through these cards in order, one at a time, and we have to incorporate all of these into the adventure sequentially.
Heart of the cards guide me.
I don't know if it's possible, including the Atropol token card I just got. There's 16 cards in this deck. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, but we're creative. You know, no one else has done this before as far as I've seen. They always like pick and choose what cards they want to use, but we're not going to do that.
Rank amateurs.
Right.
Nah.
We are goddamn professionals.
All about the improv.
All right, so starting off, we have the Atropol. Let's talk about how the Atropol fits into this. How do we begin with the Atropol? It's kind of like a spooky baby.
Oh, don't care for that.
Maybe I should describe it so I can, our listeners can play along at home.
That probably helped them too.
All right, so the card for the Atropol, and it looks kind of like a warped gorilla baby with glowing eye and mouth, and I think I see an umbilical cord.
It kind of looks like if Dune was in the Pokemon universe, and this was Baron Harkonnen's first form.
Wait. Hold on. So there's like some real strong umbilical cord type things going on in this art.
Yeah.
But why would it have an umbilical cord? Isn't it like the angels, Nate, that they shouldn't have umbilical cords because they're not really born?
Well, it's
Maybe
stillborn.
Maybe it's some kind of like big cosmic sack. But then again, aren't we all?
I got a big never mind.
Let's just leave that alone. So we're starting with the Atropol. So are we trying to defeat this thing in this adventure? Are we trying to like communicate with it?
Maybe we're a cult that worships it.
Ooh, that's got some meat on it. I like that.
Okay.
This thing's got death touch.
So what if I like using the cult idea? So what if we're trying to maybe recover this thing or recover a part of it or some like commune with it, use its latent magic?
Resurrect it
Or have it just be born in the first place. Try to find like a celestial god. It can enter its womb and be born for real.
All right. So we have this god essence Atropol. We're trying to have pushed out into the universe so we can worship it or
we got
use
to
its
eat
power.
it like Silent Hill 3.
Your references are just out of control.
Just on point today.
I love it. First step, we are cultists. The players are cultists, and we're trying to resurrect this dead god. or have it born in the first place. I guess it's not really a resurrection.
It's erection.
Just a regular erection.
Well, that's how the baby first came to be.
So the next card we have is called Eye of the Beholder. And it says, in the end, there was nothing beautiful to be seen. And it's basically this unfortunate soul getting zapped to death by a beholder and disintegrating. I'm thinking maybe this beholder is the head of our cult.
And it's going to actually use our life force to resurrect the baby.
Ooh.
'Cause it sounds like it wants to murk us.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
From reading that line, it's maybe we think, oh, this guy is our way to get the baby to come back. And he's like, yeah, come on in. And as he talks in his beholder language.
Do you think that we start off as these cultists who want to do this, and then we find out pretty early on that this beholder's trying to double cross us?
Yeah, because I think the flavor text says it all. In the end, there was nothing beautiful to be seen. This thing's just going to betray us in typical cult fashion, kill off its followers.
So we found this out pretty early. So then are we trying to resurrect it without the beholder and double cross him or triple cross him?
Oh, everyone loves a triple cross. I say we try and, we don't get got, we go get. So we're going to go after them.
Maybe we need to use the rest of the cards to gather the power to overcome the beholder.
We can only hope we get something good.
Well, see, I would just think that a creature like that, I get just from the picture. We've seen Big Trouble in Little China.
Of course.
Okay, Lo Pan's little creature that he sends around the little meat wad. So
Yes.
I'm thinking that the Atropol, this is like its earthbound familiar, and that's how it communicates from the darkest regions of space.
It uses the beholder.
Yeah, and that's how it sees all.
Okay.
All right, so we're cultists. We think we're trying to communicate with the Atropol to benefit ourselves, but really we're being used by the beholder and the Atropol to resurrect it.
Yes.
And we figure this out pretty early on in the adventure. And we have to figure out how to defeat the beholder and the Atropol, correct?
Maybe we don't know it's trying to betray us yet. And like Richard was saying, he's just using the beholder as like a mouthpiece.
Okay.
So that's like the head of the cult is literally the floating head of the beholder.
The divinity speaks through him and he has all control over us. All right, so the next card, we ready to move on?
Yes.
Spoils of the Hunt. And the image is a guy, looks like looting a dead body of an orc. And it says, every coin helps rebuild the town they destroyed.
Maybe we use loot we find from people out in the wilderness just to kind of benefit the cult.
So like we need money.
Like we trap people.
I can see that. Maybe we're like bounty hunters, or maybe we just we destroy a town to take everything from that town that we can have of value to raise money because we need to build something or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're a cult.
Because are we still trying to appease the beholder thing, or is that ship sailed and now we're on to like our next scheme?
No, I think it's all in benefit of the beholder, which is in turn benefit of the Atropol. So maybe we're trying to grab material towards some blue vortex in the sky, a la Suicide Squad or Ghostbusters 2016.
Or Avengers.
Or really any movie that came out after like 2008.
Yeah, just giant portal.
So we're trying to destroy it. Maybe it's a certain town that we know has like a temple in it, that if we sack this temple, we'll find what we need to be able to open up this channel or a tunnel or portal, whatever the hell you want to call it, between our world and the world of the Atropol. Like we can summon it down with this artifact. So we're hunting for it.
We're trying to pull it through like a wormhole.
We're trying to open a wormhole for it to come to us.
Man, it's gonna come through. It's just gonna eat us.
We don't know that. The beholder says he's a very nice being and he just wants to chill, have a couple brews, maybe play some cornhole.
It's a very chill Atropol.
Yeah.
We don't...
Despite the fact that it says in the description of an Atropol from Forgotten Realms that it exists solely to spread death and destruction. I mean,
cornhole tournaments.
It's gone from undead abomination to cool dude who hangs out at your friend's barbecue.
Yeah, just wants to cook some hot dogs and have a good time. Just a typical local outing at your local cults.
Now, when I think of the Atropol, I like to picture him like a little tuxedo T-shirt, like he's just there to have a good time. Yeah, maybe it's like a bandolier belt full of beer cans. He's got like a visor on,
Yeah,
like he's like
definitely wearing New Balances.
Stoner dude who's not gonna try to force anything on you, but if you want, he's got some stuff.
No, he's the guy that shows up with his own 6-pack and doesn't share.
Yes, he takes whatever isn't consumed home.
No, he shows up with his Bush Light and takes all your good shit.
Or is he
all your IPAs?
I was say, is he the guy that shows up with Diet Pepsis and drinks everyone's beers?
No, he's the
Hooray.
guy that shows up with Stop and Shop prepackaged potato salad.
I'll bring food to the potluck, and it's just a single table talk pie.
Now, if it was
An
Patty
apple-
LaBelle pie, we'd be onto something.
Wow. All right, so far, we are cultists of the Atropol who speaks to the beholder, and we're going to sack a temple to find a way to resurrect or summon him into our world.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
I like it so far, not bad. The next card we have is the Brazen Dwarf. There's a picture of a dwarf blasting fire out of his hands. And it says, "My grandmother saved the life of a brass dragon, and in return, she was given a glimpse of the fire in its heart. A glimpse you pass down to me."
All right, maybe this is the guy that's at the temple we try to sack.
Yeah, like he's like the head honcho of it, and he's like, no, motherfuckers, this is my cool shit. You can't have it. Fire magicked.
Like maybe he has a bunch of treasures from a brass dragon.
We want that as the spoils of the hunt to get from the beholder or for the beholder.
Yeah, there's our offering. We got to get some of the treasures that this person's grandmother got from a brass dragon.
So he's like a little mini boss type idea.
Mhm.
We got to defeat him to get the MacGuffin to bring it back to our temple.
Boom. Got to watch out for those magic dwarfs.
So the next card really plays into this perfectly, and I don't want to jump ahead if you guys aren't ready, but it's like superb.
Go
It
for
is
it.
they'll ever be.
It's called Contact Other Plane. There's no flavor text, but it's a guy looking at a book, and this giant floating eyeball is staring at him through a portal.
Oh,
So I'm thinking we get this stuff, and maybe this happens in the temple. Some other being tries to warn us about what we're going to do, and is like, "You're going to be betrayed. This is not going to end well for you."
Like it's definitely gonna eat you, and we're like, no, he's like cool
He's a-
potato salad dude.
he just, like one of his Atropol umbilical cords come through, and it just has a New Balance sneaker on the end of it. Like I'm ready to grill, motherfuckers. Who has the rolling rocks? So we get our treasure. We go back, and he's like, "What's up?"
We get a treasure. We go back. The next card, I don't know what to do with it. It's called the Delver's Torch. So it's an equipment card. It says, "Not all of us have dark vision." Okay, it's the flavor text. So what do we do with that?
Well, maybe just from the way back from sacking the temple, it's become dark and we have to light our way through like a spooky forest to get back to our home base.
The floor collapses beneath us as the Atropol comes through. We fall into a cave system underneath.
All right. I was going to call bullshit on Core, but I think you might be psychic, so we need to go with that.
Oh shit!
Because the next card is Precipitous Drop.
Oh my! I'm retiring.
So yeah, what if you dropped into this like weird forgotten sub basement of this temple, and we have to figure out how to get out of here to go back and resurrect our creepy, spooky god of parties?
And there's probably a whole system of tunnels that was built in like Prohibition days.
Yeah, they're
We're-
bootleggers for magic.
19,
No, but like when
1920.
worship was illegal or something, and all the priests and stuff had to like do everything in secret.
I don't know what's under here yet, but I know that the thing collapses. We're in the basement. We have our torch, and we have to figure out how to get back with our MacGuffin that we've captured. Yeah, and we're burning through these cards. We're doing great. We're going to do 4-packs tonight.
We'll do it again, but with Pokemon cards.
Don't
I
you
got
threaten me with a
Professor
good time.
Oak.
So we're all agreed that Professor Oak was fucking Ash's mom, right? That's why I was like, "Here,
Sa-
10-year-old, like you
Just
gotta
leave.
like take this thing and get out." This is a cell phone. Like, yeah.
What do you think of this? You a Klaus.
Yeah, and all 151 of these, but there's only 150. I said what I said. Get the fuck
Yeah,
out.
There's one that's being made in the lab right now. Figure it out, kid.
One's a murder machine, so go fuck with
Yep. You have to go fight the mob.
it. Yeah. All right, so the next card we have is the Silver Raven. It looks like it's an artifact bird. So it looks like you ever see the old Harryhausen
Clash of the
film?
Titans,
Yeah. With the owl.
the
robot
mechanical owl.
Yep. I think it's like that. So is this like a cute little pet that we meet down here that's like a buddy?
Helps us guide us out of the cavern that we're in.
But he's been down there so
Aw.
long alone, he's gone totally insane.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. An insane raven.
I feel like this is the guy that asks you riddles and he won't help you until you figure it out, but the riddles make no fucking sense. So maybe this is the puzzle part of the dungeon where like he either brings you to things to solve them, like I am making
Oh.
such wonderful things for you to find out.
What does it have in its pocket? I don't know, Raven. You don't have pockets.
What if it does? What if this raven has pockets? It's like a dress with pockets. It's wonderful, and you need to enjoy it.
That's called the cloaca.
In nature's pocket.
Gross.
All right, so we fall into this and we find this artifact raven, and it presents us a series of puzzles or riddles. And then if we solve them. I guess he guides us out. Or maybe he tries to murder us down there by leading us into danger.
Maybe like it's just like doors that he doesn't know how to exit, but he knows where they are. And the Raven shows us where they are, and then we have to figure it out. We all just kind of go out together.
What if he has to operate from memory because he can't open the doors? He's like, I think this goes over here, but I've been in this room for 10,000 years.
I don't have anything in my nature's pocket, so it's all a guess.
It'll probably be like the last reference I try to make here, but no promises. But it'd be like 343 Guilty Spark in Halo 1. It's just floating around. You got to follow this little fucking bulb of light, and he's just like humming along, being really annoying, kind of like a Navi almost.
I was
thinking that too. Yeah. Hey, listen
over here. And you're like, oh shit, all right. And then he flutters off once in a while and disappears, and we're like, oh, great, goodbye.
All right, so we're in the tunnels now. The next card is Feign Death, a drastic measure for dangerous times.
Something bad opens up out of one of the puzzles.
So I'm wondering now if the Raven learns of what we're here to do. Maybe it's like latently psychic and figures out like what our purpose is, and it leads us into danger on purpose.
Like it lets us out of the room, but in the most dangerous possible path.
Like it leads us to the most dangerous shit in this dungeon.
Yeah, it doesn't want us. It doesn't want us to actually bring back the Atropol.
Right, and either we have to feign death to get out of it, or we actually have to die to get out.
It's going to be like the Harry Potter Horcrux situation where we got to die.
Well, no, it's just feign death. So it's basically we play possum until whatever threat goes away.
But how do you actually make that into an adventure? Because like, say we're giving this to somebody else, we can't have the only solution to play dead.
Well, no, it's like maybe not dead, but like it's maybe whatever we run into's vision is like a T-Rex.
Oh, motion based, yeah.
Right, so you have to hold very still, and you could roll like for your dexterity to be how quiet you could be, don't move, and if you fail, it spots you, and then you have to enter combat. But if you succeed, it'll just pass you by.
I like that. It's one of those great alternative combat objectives you want to spice up your combat.
Someone screws up, Nate can yell "fool of a toque" as like we just clang a bunch of pots and pans all over.
Pan, get out of here!
Why were people cooking down here?
Do we want to say what kind of monster this is, or do we want to wait for the cards to tell us what kind of monster this is? Because
let's wait to see what the card says.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be something blind, but because it's in a cavern,
that makes sense too. Because if it's got like you said, cave hearing. Blindness, yeah, it is. So the next few cards don't have a monster.
So maybe the next cards can be after the monster.
Well, let's look at what we have here on the Feign Death card itself. It looks like drow and gnolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what if it's a bunch of like Falmer from Skyrim type idea, like these blind regressed elves that are all monstrous?
Yeah.
Ooh, like the monsters in the Descent.
The Descent, yeah.
Yeah. So we beat these regressive cave things. We get out. Or are we still down here? What do you think?
The heart of the cards guide us. See what happens.
So the next card is you come to a river.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, maybe it's like an underground river.
It could be an underground river.
Then we follow that upstream to high ground.
I think we get Bruce Springsteen to sponsor this podcast.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, he'll just sing. He'll be the opening song, The River.
And then you have two choices on this card. You have Fight the Current or Find a Crossing.
Wait, what's the name of the card? Is it just The River?
You come to a river.
Oh, I thought you were saying that.
Nope. The name of the card is you come to a river.
Is this like a River 6, River of Death type thing?
It's like who's on first?
No, could
it's
be
like River Phoenix.
Yes, it's a River
man.
of Phoenix. And it's got a dragonborn, an elf, a halfling, and what looks like a human sitting at a river's edge on some rocks trying to figure out if they're going to go down with the river, following it, or they're going to try to hop across it. So maybe this is where like the dungeon branches and you have to pick.
Yeah.
Are you going to go with the water and see where it comes out? Because water will probably lead outside.
And see how many oxen we lose when we're trying to ford the river?
Richard, you have dysentery.
It's not really flavor text, but two of the italicized things are Fight the Current or Find a Crossing. So do we try to go against the River 6 with all the dead people in it, or...
I feel like maybe we just follow it up, see what the head of the river is.
Because we're underground. What if it's a waterfall?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Coming
like
from up top, and we have to scale the waterfall somehow.
Yeah, we see where it's coming from, because rivers always like flow least
down.
Resistance, you know?
Yeah, there's light up there. We can see that, and so we know if we're going to go up to the surface, like Corey said.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, like Corey said.
Like Corey.
Definitely not Richard.
You know that really smart thing that only Corey said, that just Corey and not at all Richard said? That's what we should be doing. So the next card is improvised weaponry, and it's got looks like a halfling swinging a mace or something, smashing an illithid in the face.
And Squidward is getting knocked out right now.
What is he being hit with? Like yogurt from Spaceballs?
It looks like a tiki mask.
Yeah,
from Crash Bandicoot.
It looks like maybe it was on the platform. It's not a platform. That's a sarcophagus behind it.
I have the high ground, Anakin. Don't try it.
What is up with the floating brain?
That's an intellect devourer. God, why don't you read a book once in a while? Learn about intellect devourer. I can't even fucking say it. It devoured my intellect.
Intellect?
That's not what I said. What if while we're climbing the waterfall area, a bunch of these other things start climbing up the wall after us? We have to start like knocking rocks down on top of them.
Wait, the squid things or the intellect devourers?
Neither, just the things that were following us. Fuck the squid thing.
Okay. Squidward!
So like the noise attracted a bunch of the other clan of regressed cave things.
They'd probably be coming after us, but they probably wouldn't follow us up to the sunlight, because if they could have done that all along, they would have.
I kind of like the idea of like these octopus monsters being in there too, because like they're very occult looking.
Mm.
And octopuses live in water. I don't know.
Yeah, they're very Lovecraftian.
Illithids are like mind control horrors.
Mind flayers.
Yeah, exactly. They're mind flayers. How did these show up? Do we just like find one down there in the caves and he's like, hey,
just an opposing cult coming to crush us?
Oh, yeah. I like that.
There could only be one god. We heard about your ramblings and ransacking our town. Or these guys worship beholders. And the beholder we have is actually like just mind controlled by the Atropol. I'm going deep here, guys.
I feel like we need to use the next card to help us. It's the Moon Blessed Cleric. So what if it is another cult? And they worship the moon or something that lives on the moon. Or maybe they know the moon is a womb.
It's like a space cloaca.
Stop saying that. Not everything is a cloaca.
Like, I'm going to go outside and see the moon and be like, cloaca.
That's no moon. That's a cloaca.
Okay, I know that she's supposed to be holding some kind of amulet in this picture, but it looks to me like a really fancy clothes hanger.
I thought it was a mustache.
She ripped off someone's mustache.
In this picture, there's a woman, a cleric of Saloon, the goddess of the moon, of course, as everyone knows, holding up a holy symbol of Saloon in front of the moon, surrounded by stars and clouds.
And it's very erotic.
So this cleric is leading a crusade to take out our cult.
So is this like who we find at the top of the waterfall? She's trying to like keep us from emerging with our offering to the beholder?
No, I think this is our Deus Ex Machina. I think we're being attacked in the waterfall, and then they come and they shine the light on the...
Blinds those people.
Yeah, it defeats them, and then we hook up later. And they're like, oh, we've been sent to help. Well, not like... Well, I mean, maybe like that. I roll my D6 inches.
One!
No, but because I like the idea of the moon cult being on the same thing, and we use the moon as a womb because it rhymes.
There you go.
What if the Illithid is like an actual good character? It's cleric of Saloon and is trying to do the right thing. They don't have to be evil. What do you think, though? Do you think the Illithid and this other cleric are two separate things? Because it seems kind of weird to have two rival cults show up at the same time.
I kind of like the idea of the Deus Ex Machina. Just like the light blinds these people.
Yeah.
Like Gandalf showing up in Two Towers.
Ooh, yeah. Like everybody thinks Gandalf is dead. Gandalf the White.
And then we think it's an enemy, but it's actually helping us.
Yeah, I dig it.
So once they talk some sense into us, we realize the evil ways of our cult, and that
we'll see what the cards say.
All right.
Maybe the next card is just like backstab.
So there's 3 cards left.
I was gonna say, if it was backstab, I'm leaving this podcast.
No, it's Rust Monster. This is like just like a low level threat. This is a giant Rust Monster, which is kind of sweet.
What if the Rust Monster is actually posing as the cleric?
They just drop their robes and they look like this.
Yep.
Like a big scary cricket that eats metal. What if the degenerate cave things just have Rust Monsters for pets like we have dogs?
I'm getting big like Men in Black vibes. You know, I need more sugar. This thing just wearing a cleric's skin, and the cleric was a lie the whole time. Don't listen to me.
Now I have just the chorus of the Men in Black rap song stuck in my head. Thanks for that.
What?
Here come the Men in Black.
Here comes the DMCA.
Taking down your channel.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of
Like
a
their
rust.
pets.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of the rust monster wearing the cleric skin.
There's like too many double crosses though. Like it's gonna be like I think rust monster's like a CR like a 2 creature. They're not very powerful.
You're the magic guy.
I'm a magic man.
Try to understand. try to understand.
So a rust monster is a CR 1/2 creature. Like it's not a threat. Like, and it's not intelligent either. They have a 2 intelligence.
I mean, even in Magic, it's a 2/1.
Right, exactly. Like, it can if it eats metal, then it gets more powerful. So that's why I thought like these would be just instead of having just one thing to fight in the combat.
Yeah, it's just like they're pets.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know. This is not exciting.
They just eat the ores that are in.
What if we have a bunch of them and we ride them back to town?
I mean, isn't that potentially the hazard of using the magic decks to try to construct a story? Is that it's made of so many disparate monsters that, like, unless you're resolving one before you move on to the next encounter, it's just like, and this was here too, and also this and that. It could just
I guess that's part of the fun of it.
It could become absurd really quickly, which could be fun, or it could be like, I guess if you're trying to play it straight, you know what I mean?
I'm trying my best to make a cohesive adventure out of this.
I like the idea of them being like pets and them feeding them just like because they're in a riverbed. There could be old items rusting up there or just ore deposits and stuff they munch on.
What if he eats the metal bird?
Ooh, betrayal! They eat our bird.
No!
And then we can drop that line from fucking Deep
Our
Blue
Trixie
Sea.
bird.
And we're a full shark podcast. You ate my bird, like LL Cool J.
Just like
Am I the only person that's seen Deep Blue Sea?
No, of
No,
course
there's
No,
names
I
I've
have
seen
seen
it, but
it.
I've tried to erase it from my memory.
I was gonna say, where's
Gary.
Mr. Ray and Conan? Like,
It has Thomas Jane. Of course, we've seen it repeated.
yeah, obviously. So Richard,
Yes, dear.
I'll tell you why we don't need to ride these rust monsters back to town or back to our evil area.
the evil area.
The evil. We're workshopping the name.
I mean,
it's immaterial because we can fly.
what?
What
this
card
card
is
is-
this?
Fly.
Oh,
Is it literally called Fly?
Yep. So the
Yeah.
card fly has like a wizard or something jumping over a lava-filled chasm
Yeah.
with blue streaks behind him because he can fly. You see.
okay. What if the cleric blesses us with the power of flight and we can all fly to the moon?
We just missile
We can
drop kick.
fly to the cloaca.
I like that. So I was thinking we go back to the temple, but instead we're like, fuck that beholder. We're going, to the moon.
We don't need the beholder. We don't need to bribe the beholder anymore. We're just going to go straight to the cloaca.
So this is where the final confrontation happens then between us and what, the Atropol?
On the moon.
Well, I mean, is it a confrontation? Because, like, we're expecting, like, this great birth. So, like, we're excited.
Does
because we think it's
the
gonna go
moon
fine.
just like crack open like an egg?
Yes.
Well, the final card
Uh-oh.
is Meteor Swarm.
Oh shit!
So we're flying.
There's
and
no way this is these
So-
card pulls are real.
You
So
saw me
by,
open the
like,
deck.
some sort of divine intervention from another god or whatever, we're just, like, taken out on our way to the cloaca.
I mean,
really
I think
don't want this thing here.
the beholder, they're pretty magical. They could probably go to the moon too once they figure out. Like maybe they've been tailing us the whole time, or like they've long visioned us. They can see what we're doing.
Oh no! I got it.
Okay, what is it?
So in the beginning, the Atropol has already put himself inside the moon so he can be reborn. We go to the moon. He's born. The moon shatters when he pops out like an egg, and all the pieces of the moon rain down. And we've destroyed our own world by releasing the Atropol out of the moon cocoon.
I don't think we care. I think we're like, cool, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. Just
That
like,
wouldn't be
oh,
as-
praise be.
That wouldn't be a satisfying ending to play, though.
The moon explodes and we're like, ow, my most of me.
What if the final conflict is that we are fighting the Atropol now that he's reborn on this like these floating islands of comet moon that are falling to Earth? Like it's falling. We have to hop between island to island to island to be able to fight this thing as like a constantly changing battlefield as we're trying to get close to the thing to fuck it up.
So what makes us decide, though, that we want to destroy it?
The moon cult was like, hey, this guy's a real asshole. Don't do it. And then they go, oh, it's too late. Go fight it now, I guess.
Maybe it turns into an Armageddon situation where we have to blow up the moon and Liv Tyler shows up and Aerosmith shows up.
There's lots of sadness and her gigantic hand on a screen.
Or could you say that again?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Because
like
I don't want to miss a thing.
Yes.
Woo.
This episode should just be called Reference the Podcast.
Remember the 90s, you guys?
It was a trip.
That's basically our Patreon podcast.
Yeah, people pay us money to remember the 90s.
And jump cut to the ad.
Coming to the World Wide Web, it's the internet's premier podcast that gives you the 411 on the 1990s favorite television teams with Tood.
The Ninja Turtles?
As if...
The Power Rangers?
Talk to the hand.
My bad. You must mean the...
No duh, they're all that in a bag of chips.
That's PHAT fat. How do I scope that?
Just head on over to our Patreon, and starting at $1, you'll get 2 gnarly episodes of Jumping the Street Sharks a month, plus a bunch of other tubular shiznit.
Actually, that sounds lame. I think I'll keep my cheddar to myself. Not!
So if you want to support us, head to the Patreon link in the show notes. We appreciate you, and can't wait to share more jawsome content with you soon.
So, should we go back through the adventure so we can get a final handle on what we're doing for this last piece here?
Yeah, I think now
Yeah.
that we have a rough idea, we can maybe go down and tighten her up.
All right, so this started off with we are cultists who are talking to a beholder who's the head of our cult about how to summon an Atropol.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go to a temple where we find a magic MacGuffin that will help us resurrect or erect, as Richard said, the god into the world, right? At the temple, we fight the dwarven cleric who's in charge of it all, kick his ass, take his cool stuff, and then something from another world contacts us. Other plane is like, hey, this is really bad shit. What if that's Saloon that contacts us?
Could be.
And then she sends her cultist or her cleric to help us.
Mhm.
All right, so let's go with that then. We can retcon that a little bit. While she's telling us this, we're like, nah. And the ground opens up and we fall into this horrible fucking temple. Like the underground, the underchasm, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
While there, we meet a silver raven who says they want to lead us into safety, but in reality wants us to die in this underground area.
Yeah, they don't want us releasing Atropol.
Right. Leads us to a place where these degenerate cave horrors attack us and chase us up a waterfall with their rust monster pets. Right? That was all one big battle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we never improvised a weapon.
Well, I was just about to say we knock a bunch of rocks down back on them as we're climbing up the waterfall. Like, then we have to figure out, like, you can either spend your turn climbing up the waterfall or you can spend it knocking rocks down and trying to knock them off. Then it's like a little puzzle and a fleeing thing. It's like a chase scene with added spice. At that point, right as they're about to catch us, the Deus Ex Machina moon cleric of Saloon, who talked to us in the temple, shows up. She's an illithid and is like, you need to go to the moon right now. It's too late. And VoIPs us to the moon, right?
No, well, we fly to the moon.
Well, yeah, she flies us to the moon. Flies us to the moon.
Let me play among
The moon, 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 moon. At the
So
moon.
at this point, we've already decided that we are actually not wanting the Atropol to be born, which is why Saloon is helping us get there.
Or we lie to her to get us to the moon. So I think at the very end, if we did the evil thing and stayed with the Atropol, it's us and the Atropol versus Saloon for the final confrontation. As the moon breaks apart and rains apart all over us. If we did
Splits open, just sends meteors down.
Is there still a Saloon if we've exploded the moon?
She's just very mad now.
So, if we did the good thing, then it's us and Saloon versus the Atropol. You can really use the same stats. It's just like, if it's the Atropol, have it deal necrotic energy. If it's the moon, have it do radiant energy.
Mm-hmm.
So then the players have a lot more freedom to choose how they want to do it.
If half decide they want to go with the moon,
Yeah.
and then it's a bunch of infighting.
Yeah, it could be PvP, and then really you just kind of eschew the whole moon versus Atropol. Like, they're fighting each other in the background, and then the players are allowed to fight each other, and whoever wins the day. That way you're not having some like DMPC controlling the flow of battle. I think that's a pretty fucking strong adventure.
Right? We pulled this out of nowhere. Well,
Like,
we pulled that out of a pack of cards from your local game shop.
Right? Like, that went way better than I thought it would. I would play the hell out of that adventure.
It sounds very doable.
It feels like it would have to be sort of high level, given that you're fighting moon gods and Atropols. But that's not a problem.
I could fight the moon.
Yeah.
Level 1 ranger.
So yeah, I think the concept was proven, right?
Yeah.
That was a real thing.
Yeah, I think it works. Yeah, it actually
Like-
takes a little intuition and improv and whatnot. But
I'm glad I had you guys to bounce the ideas off of and vice versa, because I think I would have had a lot of trouble trying to like shoehorn shit in.
yeah,
Well-
it seems like a group project to do.
Yeah, with all of us here, I think we came up with stuff I wouldn't have considered. And it was constantly surprising.
And as Yugi would say, you gotta believe in the heart of the cards.
Well, it's just like any group, setting. It's, yes, and, or
Yeah.
that's great, but what if?
That was actually really fun. How awesome would it be if someone actually turned that into a campaign? It was like, hey, we actually ran that.
I might write it up and just put it on the website,
Why not?
Because honestly, it sounds fun as hell.
Right? Like it has all the little stops. You have like the mini boss in the beginning and then the crazy ass god boss at the end.
Right.
It's like
It's
a
like,
JRPG.
Yeah, exactly. There's only
Fight
three.
rats, then fight God. Thanks, Final Fantasy X.
So I'm thinking that went really well. And I don't know if it was a fluke or not because I've never done this before. So I think we owe it to our audience to do it one more time.
Let's give it another go
with a new pack.
with even
Now-
more 90s references.
I think we can do this a lot faster. I'm thinking maybe 3 minute stops. So I will open it now into the microphone so you can hear me opening it.
Is this now an ASMR podcast?
So are you literally keeping them in the exact order that they're in the pack when you're
Yep.
doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
otherwise that's stupid. That's a stupid way.
The only thing I'm doing is that there's a token in the back. I'm taking the token out of the back and putting it in the front. That's the only change I'm doing.
But the token as the final boss would be hilarious. It's
Well,
just
that's how it
tree-
worked
It's
out.
just a tree ant.
It was an the token we had last time was an Atropol.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so like it worked out perfect for last time. It was in the beginning and the end. This token is not as cool as an Atropol. It's a goblin.
Yes.
Like
Kind of,
regular old goblin?
yeah. What if this is a prequel adventure to the last? Because the second card is once again the eyes of the beholder.
A goblin brought us to the, the beholder.
Well, the beholder's like, hey, we want to take over this warren because it's full of cool shit.
Maybe we just raid a goblin den.
Yeah, okay, that's a nice early adventure. I
Right?
like
We're
that.
just normal adventurers and we find
Maybe-
a goblin den.
We're like
And-
baby cultists?
Yeah, what if we find the beholder in the goblin den? So
Yeah,
we clear
like-
up.
We clear out the goblin den, the beholder's there.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, thank God, I had prophesized your coming." And we're like, "Dope, that sounds good."
Hey, you got treasure?
He's like, "Yes, friendship."
I got a
What,
giant
the-
space baby for you.
So the beholder was being held captive by the goblins?
No, he was just fucking around down there.
Maybe there's an artifact down there that the beholder was tied to.
Yeah, maybe he was sealed behind something, and we broke the
Yeah.
seal.
The key is to never break the seal early.
No, you
You gotta
can't.
hold it. You gotta
You
hold
can't.
it.
All right,
Behold it?
Yes,
Jenna with the
nice one downtown.
with the alley-oop right there.
We clear out the shitty goblin den. We find the beholder, and the beholder's like, "Sup, fools." And the next card is Inspiring Bard, and it says, "Wake up, my friends. There are deeds to be done and treasures to be won." And it's just like elf waking up a really angry-looking party members, and he's got big poofy sleeves and a harp.
Toss a coin to your witcher. Oh,
I-
valley of plenty.
Oh, look, he's got his little harp. He's playing him like a little wake up song.
This
the
is
little
the
dragonborn in the back is like, "Rah."
this is the DMPC that like no one else in the party likes. He's just there to drive the fiction.
Yeah.
The next card is a price of loyalty. So what if this is a party member that the beholder's like, if you want to prove yourself to me, you have to kill him.
Yeah, maybe it's the bard's loyalty that's has the price on it.
Right? Like, yeah, he's not one of us. You got to murk this dude.
I hate his singing. Get rid of him. Oh, there's a
He's just-
goblin
he's
in the
been making
picture.
it crazy back here for centuries, locked in with this guy.
There's even a goblin in the picture. How perfect is that?
What if it's a goblin bard?
Oh, even worse.
And the beholder's like, I need the music to fucking stop. Like, please, please kill him. It's just drums from noon to night. I hate it.
This dude's loyal as fuck, but he sucks.
Go and meet your eternal reward, you horrible bard goblin.
He's just like scraping his like blade on the cavern walls, like nails on a chalkboard.
All of his eyes are twitching. All the beholder's eyes, like.
Listen to my beautiful goblin music.
And so our first baby adventure is killing this beholder.
Slaughtering a bar.
Yeah, killing this goblin bard. It's like, I'm just here to make everybody happy, and we're like, die.
You guys want to listen to my soundscapes?
Oh my god, he's the ESMR podcast.
He's dropping his mixtapes. Here's my SoundCloud.
This next track is straight fire. Bling dong, ding, ding, dong, ding. Kill it, kill it, kill it. All right, I like this. This is goofy and fun.
This is
The next-
definitely a prequel because it gets super serious after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to work it all out in the beginning.
Then we're out there, like exploring the moon. But at first, we were just laughing at this guy's mixtapes.
The next card is Morden Kanan's Polymorph. So Morden Kanan is a really powerful wizard in the Forgotten Realms. And the flavor text is, your purpose may change along with your shape, but you will serve regardless. So Polymorph is you're transforming into something else. And the card is like a horse, dog made of water, but it has wings.
There's a lot going on here.
To the end of turn, the target creature becomes a dragon. So
Hmm.
the target creature in this case would be the beholder, who just becomes a dragon.
Or
Or
the
is it-
hype man.
Or is it the bard?
Oh, so
And he's
after we
like-
kill him, he's like, "Thank you for releasing me from this horrible form. Now I can be my true self." He becomes a giant fucking
Yeah,
dragon.
after you just beat the shit out of the goblin, he just transforms.
Or he's been a dragon the whole time in the form of a goblin, again, like trying to
Yeah.
infiltrate this thing to kill the beholder. And he's like, okay, you want to fucking fight?
Yeah,
I
you
can
guys
fight.
want to? You guys want to go? This isn't even my final form.
And then he transforms into a dragon. We have to fight it. Maybe the beholder transforms the goblin into this to give us more of a challenge. Like we killed the goblin too fast, and he's like, that wasn't a fight.
I need to
I'll
see if
give you
you're
a
worth. I
fight.
need to see if you're worthy of bringing the Atropol into this world. Like, here's a challenge for you.
Then it's like one of those classic JRPG bosses where they start flashing red and they get more and more dangerous for a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, because like the thing is, like you go in, you just see this little shitbird goblin.
So,
You kick
so
the
now
hell
I'm
out.
imagining this as like a Sleeping Beauty thing where like the beholder was never actually stuck. You're just waiting for the right prince to come kill his goblin.
Like a Shrek style.
But like you kick his ass, you're feeling good. You're like, wow, that's super easy. And then all of a sudden it transforms, like classic, like you said, JRPG. All of a sudden like, oh shit, there's another form to this thing that's gonna kick my ass.
It's like the Undertaker just sits up in the coffin and looks at the camera, and you're like, oh no.
Perfect.
You're all celebrating, and meanwhile, the audience is like freaking out. Like, turn around! But it's too late. You're already getting chokeslammed through a stack of tables. All right, so we've defeated the dragon. The beholder's like, you guys can hang. The next card is the Priest of Ancient Lore. It's a dwarf cleric, another dwarf cleric like the last one. This one says, we are a product of our ancestors, the apotheosis of countless noble generations. Speak their names with reverence, and they will guide your path.
It's another dwarf, so this lines up with the other dude we have to go fight.
So what if this is like a false thing where like he's like, okay, I think it's in this other temple here that we have to go raid, but it's not the right temple. It's like some other bullshit temple. It doesn't have the right thing. Or this is how we discover the location to the real temple later on.
That
Yeah,
has
like,
the fire dwarf in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a matchbook with the temple's name on it.
right. He got his pockets and it's like, the shady lady. We'll go there next.
Classic noir discovery here.
Now, speaking of which, the Shady Lady would be a great name for a moon goddess temple. Just throwing that out there. All right, so we go to the first temple. We find this cool old dwarf who knows a bunch of shit, and we shake him down for the real info about where the hidden temple is. Or maybe the legends of the hidden temple.
Back to the 90s, baby.
All right, so we're shaking this guy down. We get the information we need. We set up that the dwarves are, I don't know, are they like Selene worship? No, not Saloon worshippers. There's something else. They worship something else. All right, so
So they just worship dragons.
yeah, we defeat the dwarf. We find out the truth where the new temple is, right?
Mhm.
We're going to go back to tell the beholder this information. But before we can do that, we hear something on the watch.
What is it?
I don't know. You hear something on the watch.
Oh, that's what that's the whole
Hey.
thing, huh?
All
Yeah, no,
along the
wait.
watchtower.
You know what it is, though?
You hear some?
A manticore.
Oh shit! I can't believe it's literally called. You hear something along the watch.
All right. Manticores are serious shit, though. Like, manticores are fucking scary. Like, a CR3 could fuck up a party of first level characters real easy. So, do we have to, maybe it's like an old manticore that's like,
It's definitely like a mini boss level, at least.
yeah, very much. It makes 3 attacks per turn, 1 with his bite and 2 with his claws, or 3 with his tail spikes. So, it's either 21 damage per turn or 20 damage per turn on average.
Are you sure this is a mini boss?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be an old manticore or a baby manticore,
Aging Manticore.
or we got to scare it away or something.
Can we just run away?
This might be one of those fights you put in there to teach players, like, hey, it's okay to run. Like, if you get overwhelmed,
Maybe our
just get out of
next
there.
card will help us.
It's an Underdark Basilisk. Doesn't
Just
seem
more
like
just more monsters show up.
with death
And Penny
touch.
Weasley nearby.
No, unfortunately, no. So a basilisk is also a CR3 creature, and except they continue to stone, which is worse.
Just walk around with a mirror. I watched Harry Potter. This is
So-
the Underdark Basilisk, right?
Yeah, so it has death touch, which means it
Dude,
can kill you by
this-
touching it.
Looking at this thing, this is
we
very
make the-
intimidating.
Oh,
card.
wait a minute,
Who made them fight each other?
Yeah, I was gonna say because what's the baby?
The Manticore.
Man, no, the baby.
Atropal.
Atropal, because Atropal also has death touch. So maybe this is one of the Basilisk is on his side, and he saves us by killing the Manticore with his death touch.
Mm.
I like the idea of getting them to fight though. Like
Yeah.
very, very like Monster Hunter, where like these two just beasts in nature are very territorial and they just duke it out. We just kind of watch it like Jurassic Park style.
I don't think that would be engaging as a player, because all it would be is the DM talking about these two cool monsters fighting.
It would still be along the lines of like we have to like avoid their fight. They're throwing shit all over each other. We have to avoid them crashing into us, and
Well, and we also have to lure them into the same space to fight each other.
Or yeah, like maybe the Manticore is chasing us, and we have to lead it
we
to the
stumble
Basilisk.
into the Basilisk site.
Right. And then we like slide under the basilisk's legs to get to the other side, and then they actually hit it and whatever.
So think about a DM, how you would try to lure your players into figuring out they have to lure this monster
That's
into
true.
another monster they've never seen
Yeah.
and not have it be
Well-
so railroady.
Yeah, you'd have to like, hey, you can run from this fight. And then
Did I
you
mentioned the other basilisk earlier? Because it's kind of important.
That's true. But maybe most people, I feel like when they're starting a campaign, they're going to just try and fight it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people aren't seasoned veterans and going to be like, yeah, we'll run away. So they try and fight it, and maybe the fighting brings upon the basilisk. It's also just nesting nearby.
So it's kind of like Richard's idea with Atropal being like, oh, you need some help? Here's some help.
Yeah, and the
But-
basilisk shows up, and it's like the machina, but it doesn't actually like care for our safety because it's a basilisk.
Right.
Mhm.
You still got to avoid it.
Yeah, you still gotta like
It's more
there's
like-
chaos and explosions and poison
Yeah,
whatever around us.
like you said, Richard's saying, oh, here's your Deus Ex Machina, but it's not necessarily gonna not eat you. But
Right, it'll gladly eat one or two of the party.
yeah, but I'm
Right.
gonna fight the bigger thing in front of me first. So it's not like we're gonna ride this thing out like Falcor.
What if they, the Atropal sends its, agent of chaos, and one of them is destroyed, but then the other one is still like, "Sup? I hate you too."
Now you gotta fight a weakened basilisk.
Right. And then you're doing something that is weakened, ergo a little bit less of a
that
higher,
gives you a
of a
reason.
lower CR.
Yeah, that gives you a reason why you're able to fight it.
A ghost basilisk shows up from beyond the stars, takes this thing down to 1/4 of its hit points, and then dies. And
Yeah.
now you have to fight this weakened Manticore.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
it's
like,
got-
cool, we're saved. Oh shit, not quite.
And then the Manticore still just fucks up the basilisk.
Yeah, its tail's ripped off. It's missing one arm. So it's like heavily modified. It can only do 2 attacks per turn.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a fucking Manticore.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's the super badass enemy, but we're gonna start at half HP, so you have
Yeah.
a chance.
Exactly.
It makes me think of when we
And
we
like you
played a
said, less
game where there
attacks.
was an injured giant.
Yeah, I did that in that game. Yeah. So I ran a game for Richard, Jenna, and Richard's wife, in which there was a storm giant driven mad by whatever he found in a dungeon. And the thing was already half dead. His guts were hanging out of his belly. He was driven mad. And so normally there's no way a party of level 1 or 2 characters could stand up to a storm giant.
Mhm.
However, as weakened as he was, he had no weapons. All he had was a sack of coins that was slowly getting emptier as he swung it more and more. I can see this fight kind of like that, like Jenna was saying. It's a full Manticore. Then you feel this like weird tickling in your head. You hear the Atropal's voice, the Beholder's voice saying, "I see you. Help us on the way." Then it
Mm.
telegraphs the Beholder is always watching you, which is fucking terrifying in its own. So it
Mhm.
gives you that clue. The thing shows up, weakens it enough to make it a possible fight, but then still the Manticore wrecks the Basilisk's shit. So like maybe the Manticore can fly normally. Well, the Basilisk turns its
Tears
wing
its wings off, yeah.
or turns it to stone. That's what Basilisks do.
Yeah.
So you have this land-bound, tailless Manticore that's like now a terrified animal, which is the most terrifying thing to fight.
It's a little more aggressive, but its attacks aren't as strong because it can't come at you as hard.
Right. Which is a different kind of fight entirely, but it's still a huge threat. And kind of fun because it gives you information about what you're facing in terms of
It gives you areas you need to target as
Yep.
characters. Like, oh, it's got open wounds on its like back and
Mhm.
tail,
Mhm.
like tail end area.
and it gives you information about the beholder that you'll need later on. The fact that he can see you at any time. It comes up in the adventure that we had before this.
Right.
That's after this.
I like it. With our
And-
powers combined.
We get a great axe, which is the next card.
What if when we defeat the Manticore, out of his belly comes a great
Mm.
axe?
Or
From something he's eaten.
going along that way. If it say we could even say it was the older Manticore and it had an axe just lodged in its body, kind of like how like you often see monsters with like old weapons stuck in it.
Mhm.
Or if we pull the great axe from its paw and it becomes our friend.
What if its wing that was turned to stone or its tail that was turned to stone becomes a great axe?
Very Dark Souls. I like it.
So like you killed it, like you notice that instead of a great axe, we can just retcon it to like, this is a spiked mace.
Its tail gets ripped off from the basilisk and you can use it as a weapon.
That's pretty sweet.
That's very reasonable for a fantasy setting.
We have some weird shit coming up, guys. I don't know how we're gonna make this work.
And that's your loot for the party, though. Like whoever, like if there's a warrior in the party, they can get the great axe now. That's Manticore's tail.
So the next card is Intrepid Outlander. It's an orc ranger. It looks like an orc with a bow and arrow stalking stuff.
Yeah, they kind of looking into some cages, kind of, or is that like maybe that's like a iron door that's knocked open?
Could be. So we defeated this Manticore. We have the great axe. At the end of this fight, we're gonna be pretty beaten up, I imagine. So what if we run across an outlander somewhere that's able to help us and guide us so he can heal us up and bring us to where we need to be?
Yeah, and then who knows what the next cards could bring? They could be like us sacrificing the outlander. But
Thanks for helping. You're
without-
very
yeah.
useful.
I mean, without looking forward,
Right.
we could definitely use the help from someone, and maybe we're just stumbling after the battle, and you just walk upon a ranger. That's rangers are just out in the wilderness.
I feel like this ranger has more to do. So the next card here is called Choose Your Weapon. And it's choose one. 2-weapon fighting or archery. And the flavor text says, move it, Varys, or I'll pick one for you.
Maybe this Outlander has other weapons that we can use to be prepared for the next stage in our service of the Beholder.
I just don't know how to implement that in terms of an actual adventure. Like he's like a wandering salesman.
No,
Yeah, kinda
like
Resident
he-
Evil 4.
Exactly. It's like thinking of
Oh,
Yeah,
what are
he
you
just-
buying?
He, as a result of having had all these, adventures that go through and don't survive and whatever, he loots and sells their gear. So he's got stuff.
So you think he was watching us from the sidelines the whole time, waiting for us to die so we could take our shit?
Yeah.
What if the Outlander was wounded in the battle? Like they were wounded by the Manticore before, and they have items to give out.
We find him in the Manticore's nest or whatever, and he was being eaten. And if we save his life, then he'll give us something. Yeah?
Well, why couldn't it just be that the outlier had like a hospital hotel that we went to, got healed up, and then
Who else is gonna be like wandering around in this like beholder goblin trap area? Like, oh yeah, just like a couple
like-
100 feet over, we got a whole hotel.
It's like Disneyland out here.
I want this going to be like a recurring character. Like, I don't know why. Maybe he just follows us waiting for us to die so we can get our cool stuff. But after we survive a fight, he's like, I saw some that was cool. If you want to buy some healing potions, I'm around. It'd be kind of like a fun, like, NPC, Like, he's just always there in the background. Like, you got through a horrible fight, and he's like, wow, I thought that was my real chance to take that cool sword you have. But, all right, here you go. What if I
so
sell
anytime
some
you gain XP or gold, it hits the select button and you go to store.
stuff? Yeah, he's just kind of there. Like, he won't fight. He won't interact with you at all. He's not going to help you in any way, but he's just like 50 yards behind.
Like he's always happy to either take your money or take your stuff, whichever one works out this time.
Yeah, you'll give him something in the long run. But
Going back to what Richard said, he's the merchant from Resident Evil 4. He just shows up in different areas. It's like, what do you got now, bud? What do you want to do? You want to buy something, or let's make a deal?
Which we could use to our advantage if like we're in the middle of a fight and we know we need some type of weapon.
Let's go back to the vendor, guys.
like, you help me out. He's like, I will for a price. It's going to cost you though.
You wouldn't happen to have any.
I can't give you any ammo, but I'll give you weapons.
That's the kind of shit I like to put in my games because that's like,
Just wacky stuff. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little like gonzo. It's kind of fun to have a would-be scavenger. I keep thinking of like the innkeepers from Les Miserables, like just
Yeah.
waiting to like.
Master of the house, keeper of the zoo.
Like he's not a good person. He's completely there to make a profit. He's like a total Ferengi from Star Trek, and he's just waiting to make a profit off of you, one way or the other. So
Perfect.
The last two cards are both monster cards. So I feel like at this point we have to have made it back to our beholder buddy. Or we're about to anyway, and then these last two things attack. I don't know how you want to handle this.
Okay, what are they?
The first one is a black dragon.
Oh shit.
Black dragons revel in the collapse of humanoid kingdoms. Is he trying to move into where the goblins died? Because that's very something like a young black dragon would love to do that. If he's like a young dragon wormling, like a baby dragon, they're trying to carve out.
Moving into a new spot.
And so maybe we walk in while he's fighting the beholder? Or is that too much like two monsters fighting again?
We've had a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, because that was the first adventure that ended with that pretty much.
Yeah.
Then we had the behemoth or the basilisk versus the manticore. Thank you.
What's the next one? Next matchup?
Gelatinous cube. Which is great. And honestly, a super cool card that I'm very excited to have.
Maybe it's the merchant storage.
What if the merchant has a pet gelatinous cube he can sell his shit in? Yes. No one can rob it because it's inside of a gelatinous cube.
It's inside the gelatinous cube.
It's
his moving storage.
Yes. It's a perfect anti-theft device. Like, go ahead, you can get it if you want to.
Try to.
Black dragons have acid breath, right? So it stands to reason then that black dragon skin is acid proof.
So it's trying to get in the cube.
Gelatinous cubes are acidic. What if we have to either kill a black dragon to make gloves for this guy to be able to get the shit out of the gelatinous cube? Like, what if a gelatinous cube ate all this guy's stuff? And he wants us to be like, I need to figure this out. Like,
this is where all the rust monsters get their food from. The gelatinous cube spits out all the old swords.
Pretty much. That's how it works, yeah. I feel like the fact that one resists acid and one is purely acid.
It's perfect.
It has to work, right? So
fuck, he's coming for my cube. The dragon's flying in. Stranger, you need to defeat the dragon coming at us.
I'll give you whatever you want from my inventory as long as you defeat this dragon. He's been following us for days. I thought we lost him in the woods, but I guess not.
This vendor's got a spell that whatever he pulls out of the cube is perfectly fine and doesn't take damage.
Well, they only dissolve organic material, so swords and armor and what have you wouldn't be affected by it.
Oh, okay.
So perfect. So what if this dragon has been stalking this gelatinous cube with this stupid vendor? And that's how he agrees to follow us. Like, if we kill this black dragon, then he'll follow us from a safe distance, and if we die, he'll make sure that our next of kin get it notice, and that all our stuff will be passed to a good purpose. It's goofy as hell. Do you guys think it's appropriate for the story we're telling?
Oh yeah,
I love it because
I think he started following us once he saw us take down the basilisk. He's like, oh, if they can take that down, take down a dragon.
I think it's really like dark and culty after this. Like, if this is like the prequel.
So he shows up to us like, look, I can get you back to the beholder lair right away. But first, I need you to do something for me, which is destroy that dragon right there. And then the dragon comes down, and we have to kick its ass.
And then after that, we've like proven ourselves to the beholder, and now like
it's like you guys are worthy too.
And like we're so committed into it now that we're like, yes, this sounds great.
Then we always have our wandering store behind us with the gelatinous cube vendor, who will be appearing in our fucking campaign. I love it. I love it too much not to have it. Like, he has to show up. Just wandering the countryside.
We need a great name for him.
Oh, yeah. I'll figure something out.
Now all I can think of is that the dragon's name is Trogdor, and he's burninating all the villages.
So in review of this adventure, just so we can go through it one more time, I'm going to go through the cards. So we are nascent adventurers. We show up at a goblin lair. Typical shit. We clear up the goblin lair. And we find the beholder for the first time. The beholder says, hey, I like the cut of your jib, but first you got to kill this bard who's been following you. We kill the bard, but then he turns out to be a fucking dragon. We killed the dragon, right? Now this was he turned into a dragon by the beholder to give us another challenge to prove ourselves?
Yeah, it's a polymorph, so
all right. So he was like, okay, you guys, that was too fucking easy. Okay.
Let me invigorate you with some strength.
Yeah,
boom.
And boom, this thing happens. After we defeat this dragon, he goes, okay, you guys are pretty tough. I want you to go shake down the knowledge of where this hidden temple is from this dwarven cleric. We
Legends
go
of the
there.
Hidden temple.
Yeah, we go there, kick the shit out of him. He's like, here's a secret temple. Let's say, cool. We're heading back. And we hear something on the watch. And it's a manticore. The manticore is kicking the ever-loving shit out of us. And then we hear a weird voice in our head from the beholder telling us the beholder can watch us all the time. And he says, I'm going to give you some help. Don't worry. Basilisk shows up, freezes his tail and his wings, dies. And then we're the cleanup crew. We kill the manticore. Take his tail as a cool axe. Then we hear like a slow clap from the distance in the edge of the woods. And out comes this merchant with his gelatinous cube. And he's like, that was awesome. I thought you were going to die. So I was waiting to see if I could get your stuff, but you didn't. So too bad for me, I guess. But now that I see you're powerful, I need you to do me a favor. I'll follow you for the rest of your days, selling you my stuff at a discount if you could help me. I was a little problem. We're like, what problem? He goes, that problem, and points over his shoulder to yet another dragon.
It's just flying overhead.
Yeah. We fight the dragon, hopefully defeating it. This guy says, like, all right, I'm not going to help you in any way, like materially, but I will sell you things at a decent price as you need it. And if you die,
that's the choose your weapon card.
yeah. And if you die, then, well, just take your stuff and sell it to somebody else who's better than you.
Whenever you buy stuff from him, he goes, thank you.
And then we go back to, I mean, that's really the end of the adventure. We go back to the beholder,
Then it routes back to the other one.
explain the situation. He goes, okay, now you're ready to go and sack the final temple. And that's what brings us into the Atchipal shit.
Yeah, he speaks to us about the Atchipal getting ready to grill some hot dogs and his New Balances.
Yep.
Great time in the Moon Cloaca.
The Moon Cloaca.
I'm just trying to get this podcast to be the highest rated Cloaca podcast.
Got some stiff competition.
Discovery Channel puts out some good stuff.
The only issue I can see with this, like, it's a two-part, but it's like in reverses because we did the second part first and the first part second.
We Tarantino'd it.
Yeah. Time is what we make of it. So the only issue that I can see is that we start off like killing goblins, which are like baby little shit creatures that everyone's cuts their adventuring teeth on, right?
Mhm.
The Atropol is a CR 30 creature. So, but then again, we have that thing being fought by Saloon,
Right.
or vice versa. Whatever ends up being our big bad. So maybe this kind of telegraphs that sort of divine intervention a little bit. So we had this unwinnable fight against a Manticore, and then something else helped us out by injuring it. So maybe in the final battle against either Saloon or the Atropol, we have it being weakened by its counterpart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It could even be like just like what you would see like in an MMO fight where like you're fighting some side stuff that helps weaken the main boss.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of assist. It's more of like it's kind of like a meter where like you're pushing like a meter downward, you're weakening it while the other being actually defeats it for you. I mean, I guess I don't know if that would really be good D&D content. You want to empower players, but
like if we're punching the meteors that are falling all around us and like swinging them back at the Atropol, and it gets stunned when we hit it with a meteor.
Yeah, you put into a weakened state, and
then Saloon can like blam 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 do her cool stuff. Then we're doing actual helping stuff.
Yeah, you do like 90% of the fight, and then the other being does like the last 10.
I think this still is pretty satisfying because I mean it's God versus God. It was cinematically pretty cool.
Like how do you make a player kill a god without being ridiculous?
Yeah, you have to like uplift them to godhood and like
right. Dragon Ball Z stuff.
Yeah, if I'm like, okay, now you're level 3, but in this fight you're gonna be level 20 suddenly. Like, okay, learn 17 levels worth of material for your character.
Right. You need to be able to just assist the higher being.
Yeah. Which I think is still very satisfying. And like if you kill a god at level 3 or 4, whatever the hell you be at the end of this adventure,
that's awesome.
You're gonna have a reputation now. You're ready for the next tier, the heroic tier.
I killed a fucking god.
Right.
And then it even opens up like if someone wants to play like an evil character, they could try and sabotage their team and help out Atropol.
Yeah, very much. And then you have, like Richard said earlier, the good players versus the bad players, and the Atropol Saloon fight happens in the background. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like whoever wins between player v player determines who wins God v God.
Right? Yeah, I like it.
I mean, we had 2 random packs of cards. We went through. We created like a level 1 to 5 adventure.
Yeah, and then like if they need filler, there's like plenty of gaps where they could put in more goblins or some side quests or.
Oh, I mean, yeah. If you had the goblin clearing the caves as your first adventure, that's 2 sessions easy.
Yeah.
And then meeting the beholder, doing the temple raid for the cleric temple, that's another 1 session at least. And then the fight with the Manticore and the dragon afterwards, that's another session.
And, let's be real, a lot of sessions don't start off directly in the cave with the goblins, you know?
Right.
You start off in the town and discussing with people and send you off on your adventures. Hey, I heard about these group of guys. They have this sick bard doing some tunes in his cave.
Right. We keep hearing eerie music coming from the moors. Go check it out. Okay, well, it's fucking goblins everywhere. You kill all those things. But I would be very happy playing this adventure, or these adventures, as it were. Like, this is
Yeah.
good
That
shit.
sounds like a really good time. Like it's just
Yeah.
a lot of shenanigans, and then it's like also like serious stuff at the same time.
Absolutely. It's a good mix. There's puzzles we had included. There's choices. Players have agency to choose what they want to do. It's not all railroady. You know, there's certain like goalposts you want to hit, but players have agency on how they want to approach things and how they want to achieve things, which at the end of the day, that's what makes a good DM and a good game.
Yeah, totally. Got to do what makes the players feel good.
Good job, guys. We fucking did it.
Yeah, we did.
Hey-o.
We used 2 stupid Magic the Gathering packs and made a level 1 to 5 adventure. And I kind of want to play it now, but I can't. We have other things to do.
Maybe next time.
Thank you guys so much for helping out with these adventures. This is great. You guys did an awesome job, and I love your faces. If you want to support the Pot of Blunders, please consider heading to our Patreon page, patreon.com/potofblunders, all one word. We've got membership levels ranging from $1 to $10 a month, which will get you access to things like our Discord, exclusive episodes of Jumping the Street Sharks, as well as a variety of other perks. You can also support the show and help us bring more attention to amazing indie authors by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate any help you can give. We love hearing from you. You can always find us on Twitter at Pot of Blunders, and you can also reach us via email at potofblunders@gmail.com. Want more reviews, interviews, actual plays? Head to potofblunders.com and learn about even more amazing indie games. Thanks for listening. For the Pot of Blunders, I'm Nate Magnuski, and as always, may all your Ds be 12s.
I've never been more attracted to you than I am.
He's
So-
like, whatever.
Yeah. I'm playing Magic here. God.
I'm literally running a D&D podcast with Magic the Gathering cards in my hand. I'm not attracted to anybody. Like, I could be Fabio right here, and people be like, whoa, what the fuck is that troglodyte doing?
I mean, Henry Cavill does all right. All I'm saying.
Oh, he's a god.
He's a god. He talks about World of Warcraft all the time.
You can talk about anything.
Sign me up.